Hey boys, welcome back. So I'm pretty confident in saying that Spectrum is the absolute worst internet service provider in the world. Genuinely, Spectrum will just fuck me over for no reason. There's no solution for it. It just happens and you have to deal with it. Just like, hey, your internet's just off now. You're just like, okay. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck's going on at Spectrum headquarters where it's just randomly, it can just go out? How is that a thing that's just accepted? If you don't have Spectrum internet, I cannot emphasize enough how absolutely fucking awful they are at everything. I would get a more stable internet connection in the middle of the Saudi Arabian desert. If you made me choose between living the rest of my life with Spectrum as my internet provider or cutting my own dick off, you better be ready to start calling me Caitlin. I could shit into my own hand, throw it in the microwave, crank that bitch up to 10, and the radiation and toxic fumes that it produces would give me a more stable internet connection than any plan that Spectrum offers. It's not even so much that their internet is slow, I mean it is, don't get me wrong, but it's more so the fact that their policies are just complete bullshit. Like, just as an example, at the start of the pandemic, I decide, you know what, everything's shut down, nowhere is open in the world. I feel like that's just common sense that if there's a pandemic, we don't go anywhere. So I find a way to watch movies from my computer, and I try to watch Sonic the Hedgehog, of all things, and for some reason Spectrum decided that that movie specifically needed to be protected better than the fucking Declaration of Independence. Because, well, one, I tried to watch it, wouldn't load, so I just gave up and probably watched something else I don't remember. The next morning, I wake up, my internet's out, and it's like, alright, this is just how Spectrum is sometimes, we have to live with it. You know, I give it some time, wait and see, a few hours pass, it does not come back on, so I decide that the only real solution for the time being is to set up a mobile hotspot with my phone, at least until Spectrum decides to stop being a little bitch and come back on. 3 days of that, and it does not come back on. 3 full days of just no internet. What the fuck am I paying for? Eventually, it just stops working. I don't know, it was something with like the plan on my phone, I used up too much data, I don't know. I don't care. So finally, when that stops working, my dad decides, alright, we're gonna call Spectrum. Worst fucking thing you could ever possibly have to do. I would rather receive news that both of my parents died in a car crash, my siblings were murdered in their sleep, and I tested positive for leukemia, cancer, coronavirus, and AIDS all at the same time, rather than having to call Spectrum. That is rock bottom. And if you are so stupid that you think calling Spectrum will help solve the problem, you are delusional. Why am I the only person taking damage in a fight that I'm not even participating in? So my dad calls him up. So much time spent just going over whatever it could possibly be. None of them are the solution. None of them are the problem. They're giving us solutions to problems that we never even mentioned. And finally, after a few hours of being on the phone, finally it comes up, oh, yeah, we shut your internet off. You shut the internet off? What, is there a fucking just button that you can press? A switch that you flip? What the fuck do you mean you just shut the internet off? Why? So they try to give their explanation. Yeah, there was suspicious activity on your IP where you tried to watch a movie illegally. I'm sorry, is this 2007? Do we still give a shit about illegally watching movies? You wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a purse, you wouldn't steal a phone. Yes, you fucking would. You would illegally download a movie, especially when there's a pandemic going on. Everywhere in the world is shut down. What do you want me to do? And you know, I'm still in the thought process of I didn't illegally watch any movies. I used a program that is well known by the world for watching movies that are already out and are on streaming platforms that I just don't want to pay for. Is that illegal? I don't give a shit. And then a few days later, I get a letter in the mail like it's 1996 and it's from Spectrum addressed to me. I don't know how they know that I exist. My name is nowhere on the paperwork. I don't own this house. I don't know how they know specifically to address it to me. And it said that if it happened again, if I watched a movie illegally, quote unquote illegally, again, I would be arrested. Spectrum would throw me in prison for trying to watch Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. And what's great, it's been about 2 years almost since that happened. That was like March, April of 2020. 2020. I still have not watched that movie because I'm scared to. I don't know what it is about Sonic the Hedgehog, live action Sonic the Hedgehog specifically. I've watched so much other shit, and for some reason, it was just that movie specifically, just the live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie, was the one that they drew the line at. They drew the line in the sand, we're like, alright, we can put up with you watching all this shit, but don't you dare try to pirate Sonic the Hedgehog. Fuck you, Spectrum.